It's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, in this video that I'm going to talk about today is a case that we've been covering for a long, long time because this little boy, Gus Lamont, let's put a bigger picture up of him. He disappeared, I think it was in September last year, 2025. He was living on a remote sheep station in Australia with his mum, his little brother, and his two G-Mars. So he has two G-Mars because one of his G-Mars, Josie, she has transitioned. I don't know if she's start living as a man. Around about 10 years ago, maybe more than that now. And these are Gus's two grandmas then. So he's now got two grandmas. He's got Josie. Can you tell which one's transitioned? Or anyway, living as a woman now. And he's also got his other G-Ma, Shannon. They're still together. Decision if she wanted to start living as a man in her 60s. She's before that she was like a sort of Crocodile Dundee type Australian man. You know, that from what we've seen a few videos, or I've made a few videos sort of going into her background a little bit. Anyway, she decided that she wanted to be a woman, and that's fine. That's everybody's choice. But she stayed together with Shannon. They still stayed together they live on this remote, very, very remote sheep station in Australia, in Yunta near Adelaide. And then last year, Gus went missing, 4 years old, disappeared, didn't he? And what I will be giving like a little background to it because there'll be some new subscribers that maybe don't even know about this case. It's got similarities with the Preston Davy case, you know, somebody disappearing and presumed dead according to the police, though. But this case, there is no body. And he was in the care of people who are supposed to care about him, but they are now the prime suspects in this major crime. It's been declared a major crime. So we're going to talk about that because Josie, she has been in court for gun charges and she's received her sentence. But they're unrelated to Gus's disappearance. No evidence has been found. That's the problem. The police are convinced that these two women know what happened to Gus. They are the prime suspects, but they don't have the evidence, and no trace of Gus has ever been found. But anyway, as I say, I'm gonna go through all that later. Now, I have to warn you, for those of you, if you're here watching the live and you don't like waffle, there's going to be quite a bit of waffle just at the beginning of this. So, you know, if you don't like the waffle, I'd go off and come back in 20 minutes or something. And I will be editing out the waffle, and I will put this video up without the waffle. So, you know, if you don't like the waffle, you can either wait for the video to come out minus waffle, or you can come back, as I say, in about 20 minutes. So I've got quite a few things to say. I'm going to tell you about a terrible experience that I had last night. A very scary experience. Just made me realise, you know, life is short and you never know the moment that something can happen, and how events conspire sometimes. It's like a perfect storm, isn't it? What happened to me last night, there were various reasons it wouldn't have happened normally, but it was like almost, you know, if you've ever watched any of those Final Destination films when everything conspires to a chaotic ending or tragic ending, that could have happened to me last night. So I'm going to tell you about that. First of all, I'm going to do a little bit of admin because I never get around to it. So my wine glasses have arrived. So thank you to everyone who watches, who likes, subscribes. To all of you who have done that, thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed, please think about leaving your DNA on the like button and the subscribe button and the notification button. Special thank you as always to my members. You can join this channel. We have a members live, exclusive members live every 2 weeks where we just chat about all sorts. You also get to be able to use the members emojis, and there are extra videos every now and again, or photos and things put on the members only part of my channel. Now, for those of you who have bought me Ko-Fis, thank you as well. And on my Ko-Fi page, which I'll put up on my Ko-Fi page, where is it? Yeah, I should show it more often, really. I'm not very good, am I, with admin? This is my Ko-Fi page, and on there you will find my merchandise. And there's T-shirts, mugs. This is one of the mugs. I'm not in the mood for twonks today. Oh, I certainly bumped into a twonk last night. The thing about twonks is they're dangerous as well, aren't they? You bump into twonks, and they're scary because they cause damage to people. I was lucky last night, very, very lucky. And I'll tell you something else, just give you a bit of it. I was saved by an immigrant. This immigrant, how immigrants get bad press, don't they? I mean, obviously I'm in Spain, I'm talking, but in Spain there are a lot of immigrants. Spain has a completely different view on immigrants to the UK and most other places. They welcome immigrants. Because Spain is a big country with a small population, and they want more young people. Because although there's a lot of expats and things here, they tend to be pensioners and things. Spain wants more families here. They want people to be at work and pay into the system. And I was saved by one of those immigrants last night, literally saved from God knows what. I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. Oh, so this is I'm not in the mood for twonks today. Mug comes in all different colours. But anyway, these T-shirts, they're all there on the Ko-Fi page. And my wine glasses have arrived, so I've been waiting for these. There was a bit of a mix-up with the delivery. So these you can also buy. So this is one, I think. Oh, I think you can see it, yeah, on the camera. Oh, of course, it'll probably come over sideways, won't it? But they're wine glasses engraved with true crime and a glass of wine with Vicky Marie Chance. So I can't wait till later. It's a bit too early for wine at the moment, even for me. But I will be having one later, I can assure you. So there are two shapes. So there's that shape and that shape. Now those two are both engraved with the same thing, but they can be engraved with anything, with a personal message. So remember that anything that's on my shop can be personalized, colors, messages. You can have a photo or not a photo. Not on the wine glasses, you can't have a photo, but everybody wants some people don't want a photo of me on there for some unknown reason. Other people don't, they just want the message, or there's anyway, on the coffee page you will see all the possibilities. And those wine glasses aren't on there yet. They are for sale already, but I've got to take photos of them and make a post about them, and I'll do that sometime over the weekend. Okay, and if you don't want to order on there, like, you can send me an email and order. There's lots of different ways you can pay. You don't have to pay through the Ko-Fi page. You can pay Zoom, you can pay PayPal, etc. There's always a way that we can organize it. Okay, is that all I wanted to say about the merch? I think so. There's T-shirts, mugs, and glasses, really. Oh, and a bottle of wine. You can buy a bottle of wine on there with a special label as well. red or white. So as I say, it's weekend. It's been a long week with the Preston Davy trial. It's been quite traumatic, hasn't it? So I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to eat a lot. I'm going to drink a lot, and I'm going to sleep a lot. So there you go. That's that. And after last night, oh my God, what a drama last night. So that's what I'm going to tell you about now. Oh, first of all, hi, lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hi to replay crew. Thank you for watching. Someone's in the chat. Let's have a look. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Daniel. So I hope you two are well. I hope you're all well. Now, this story that I'm going to tell you, well, it's not a story. This is genuinely what happened to me last night, and it just reminded me of how vulnerable we all are, and especially as women. Women are so vulnerable because twonks, they pick on the people who are the most vulnerable. So that could be children, it could be old people. I'm women. I'm a combination of old people and women, I suppose. But yeah, I think what happened to me last night would not have happened to a man. Definitely would not have happened to a man. And honest to God, I can honestly say I was terrified. So let me tell you what happened. So off I went to pick up number one son from school. Not from school. Bloody hell. That's been years since he's been in school. I'm still shaking, I think. I went up to pick him up from work, and I had to get some petrol on the way. So this is how things conspired. Now my car, probably your car is the same. As soon as you start off, the locks come down, don't they, until you open them again. But I had to get some petrol, so I went off to get some petrol on the way, and I had to open the door because somebody came to put the petrol in. A very nice girl actually came, put the petrol in. My dogs bark like mad, as they do. I've got these barky dogs, and they were in the back of the car, and she was so nice about it. And I'm going, oh, I'm sorry, they're barking at you. But I had to open the door, which unlocks the petrol cap. So she put the petrol in, off I went on my journey. And then as I'm driving along the road, my light came on to say, your door's open. I hadn't closed the door properly. So as I was moving, I had to sort of open it slightly and pull it to again so that it was closed properly. Now, I didn't realise, but I think because I did that as I was still moving, my door was not then locked. And I just presume that my door is locked when I'm driving along, because normally as soon as you set off, your door locks, doesn't it? Anyway, so it's about a 30-minute journey to where my son works. And I was nearly there, and come to a point where you come to some traffic lights and you have to turn left onto like a long road. And where I was meeting him was at the bottom of this road, or along this road. So I came up to the lights just before you turn left, and there was a car in front of me. Then I was the second car, and then there was quite a few cars behind waiting. And the lights turned to green, and the car in front of me didn't move. So everybody started beeping. I beeped. There were about 3 cars behind me were all beeping this guy. And you could tell that he was worse for wear, let's say. Didn't seem to know what he was doing. Anyway, he sort of came round, and he unfortunately turned left, which was the direction I was going. And as he turned left, he stopped. His hazard lights were coming on. He was just all over the road and going really slow, like about 5 kilometers an hour. So as I got round the corner, it's quite a long road. So I overtook him. I thought, oh God, I don't want to be stuck behind him. So I overtook him. Well, he started beeping me, going mad. His lights are flashing. And the road then that I'm on is quite a long road. There's a lot of shops, a lot of people. It was really busy because it's summertime, so it's like a holiday area. So there's lots of people about, and he's, coming through lights behind me to stay right behind me. He's right behind me there. So I'm just thinking, oh, right, okay. And I just carried on along this road. And then when it came to where I meet my son, I pulled over where it's in front of a fair. There's a fairground there for the summer. So it's quite noisy, but there's loads of people. And he, as I parked up, he came in behind me, put his car right behind my car so I couldn't move, I couldn't get out, got out of his car, walked up to my car and opened the door. Opened the door because the door wasn't locked. Oh my God, I nearly SHIT myself because this guy stood at the door, at my car door, holding it open, clearly drunk, completely pissed. And he's got like he had like a white polo shirt on. I think he was Spanish. I think he was Spanish. He was talking to me in Spanish, but of course doesn't mean he was Spanish, but I think he was. And I said to him, "What you doing?" In Spanish. I said, "What you doing? Close the door." So I'm trying to close the door. He's hanging onto the door so I can't close the door. And he's saying to me, "I'm going to ring the police." I said, "Good." I said, "Ring the police. Ring the police." And my dogs, who bark at everything normally, didn't even bark at him. So they'd been barking at the petrol girl, weren't barking at him. I think they were scared of him because he wasn't a big guy. But the thing is, because I was sat in the car, I was really vulnerable. I couldn't get out. I couldn't move. He's holding my door open and sticking his stinky alcohol breath face in my face. And I'm saying to him, "Can you please close the door?" And he's going, he was just saying all sorts of things, but you couldn't understand a lot of it, what he was saying, because he was so drunk. So I'm thinking, so I've got my phone there, but I couldn't, I just, honestly, God, my nerves just went to pieces. So anyway, I did manage to get my phone. I rang my son, he was just in a bar over the road. And he said, "Oh, hi," and I said, "Jack, can you please come now? Can you please come now?" And he's going, "What's going on anyway?" I couldn't even turn off the phone. So I'm shouting for help, really screaming for help, because this man's frightening me now, because he could have had a knife or anything. And I can't even move. I'm just in the car and I can't move. And he's just ranting and raging at me drunkenly. So because it was the fair and it was really noisy, nobody can hear me. So there was loads of people, but they were all just walking past. So I caught one guy's attention, and he just ignored me. But to be fair, he was pushing a baby in a pram, in a trolley. So I suppose he thought, oh, he didn't want to get involved. But then the second guy there was a young lad walked past then, and I tried with him, but then an older, I say older, this guy was about 30. The guy who was shouting at me was in his 50s, probably. I mean, he wasn't a young lad. I'd say he was at least late 40s, early 50s. The one who's shouting at me and holding the door. So he's still got hold of the door and he won't let me shut the door. So I've told my son what's happening. So he says, "Right, I'll be there in a moment." He's going, shut the door. And he's talking. I said, "I can't shut the door because he's holding the door open." Anyway, I caught the attention of this guy who's about 30. And I said, "Can you please help?" Because the thing is, it must have looked a bit like a domestic incident, maybe even, or whatever. I don't know what people would have thought if they were watching it. So I'm sat in the car. He's parked up right behind me, so I can't get out of I can't move as far as the car's concerned. He's holding my door open and shouting at me through the door. I'm screaming help. When I think about it, should have been screaming socorro or ayuda, or didn't even think to scream in Spanish. And anyway, so this young lad, he saw that it was going on and he comes up and he says, "What's happening?" And I said to him, "Can you please?" I said, "This man will not let me close my car door." I said, I said, "Can you please help?" Anyway, so he was really good because he calmly started talking to this guy and saying, "What's going on?" This guy's saying to him about me, "Oh, I'm going to ring the police. She was driving erratically." And all this kind of thing. And I'm going, "Yes, ring the police, please ring the police." Anyway, this young guy started talking to him and he sort of maneuvered him away from the car. So I shut the car door and put the lock on. Because, of course, the lock would normally be on. I couldn't believe it when he just opened the door and his face was there right next to me. I just couldn't believe it. It was very scary, very, very scary. So I'm traumatized. I'm having palpitations. But this guy sort of guided him away, and this drunken guy got in his car. Luckily for him, because about a minute later, my son appeared. He's legging it from the bar now. He's had a few drinks because he's gone for a drink after work. He's a big guy. He's 6'5" and he's a heavyweight boxer. And he was fuming. You can imagine. But it's a good job that he didn't arrive earlier because I think he might have punched this guy. And the guy, to be fair, he wasn't a big guy. I think if I would have been out of the car, I would have had to go at him. But I was just stuck in the car. I couldn't do anything. But yeah, and so at that moment, as the guy had just driven off, God knows, I hope he didn't kill anybody on his way home. And I saw him disappearing round the corner. That's when my son arrived, and then he's going, "Where is he? Where is he? Who is he?" He goes, "Is it him?" And he's pointing at the guy that had helped me. I said, "No, he's the one that's helped me." So he went and had a chat with him. And this guy, he was Ecuadorian or something like. He wasn't Spanish. The guy that helped me. So I was saved by an immigrant. So not all immigrants are bad, are they? So, and it's funny because my son said to me afterwards, he said, "I think he was like in a gang or something because he had these tattoos." He was the guy who helped me was a person that you might have been scared of if you'd seen him because, tattoos, they don't mean that somebody is dangerous, do they? But, he looked quite intimidating. He was definitely South American, probably Ecuadorian, I think. And they had a chat, and then it was the handshake, and my son's thank you so much for saving my mom and all this. And then we did drive the way that this guy had gone. My son was saying to me, "Oh, let's see if we can find him." And I'm thinking, "Oh, I hope we don't find him because I do think he would have punched him." And thing is, my son, he's got a strong punch, one punch, and that'd be it. So he would get into trouble then, of course, wouldn't he? So, this guy looked like you could knock him down with a feather, but he was still scary for him to have my car door open and be leaning, and I was trapped in the car like that, and he wouldn't let me close the door. So, when I calmed down afterwards, and this was in a place where there was a lot of people around, luckily, because it was the fair. But the trouble is, because of the fair and all the music and everything, and things are loud in Spain. It's not quiet noise. It's like really blaring out music. There were thousands of people there, but they couldn't hear me as I was screaming. I was screaming till my throat was hoarse, and it was really difficult to get anyone to hear. Anyway, all turned out okay. But there you go. There's a lesson. So I will make sure my car door. Normally it is locked. It's just the way it happened. It's like a conspiracy of events, isn't it? Because if I wouldn't have gone to put petrol in, my car door would have been locked. But it's because I'd gone to put petrol in, I had to open the door for to open the petrol cap, and then I hadn't closed the door properly, so I had to open it and close it as I was driving. That automatic lock mechanism didn't kick in. and then the conspiracy of events that I just happened to be behind him at the traffic lights. You know, there were other cars behind me that were all beeping him and everything, but he probably could only see me, and he saw I was a woman. And then when we came round the corner and I overtook him, he got annoyed then because I'd overtaken him. But he was all over the road and going about 10 kilometres an hour. So I honestly think, like, if my son would have been in the car with me, or a man would have been in that car, this man would not have done what he did. That, and do you know what? He's lucky, because one, if my son would have got hold of him, I don't know what he would have done to him. But also here in Spain, if you commit a crime of gender violence, they're really, now it's a big thing, because for years, Spain, you know, it wasn't sort of known for its protection of women under Franco and all that kind of thing. Over the last sort of 10, 15 years, it's a big thing, you know, gender violence, there's big penalties, bigger, and if a case is deemed to be gender based, you really get the book thrown at you, you know. So that man was lucky. I hope I never bump into him again. But I just wanted to tell you that. So it's a bit of a warning as well for my lady viewers. Always make sure your car door is locked. Because he literally just walked up to my car and opened the door. He could have had a knife. He could have done anything. He could have stolen my bag, or he, you know, those kind of things, from up to violent things that he could have done. He could have punched me. He, you know, he just literally could have done anything. He just when the door opened, honest to God, I was in shock for a couple of seconds. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that he just opened my door, and then he wouldn't let me close it again. So I couldn't close it and lock it. So it was a very scary experience. But anyway, I lived to tell the tale. So I thought I'd tell you about that. So it's a warning, isn't it? It's certainly taught me a lesson to always make sure my car is locked. And maybe I shouldn't have overtaken him, but why shouldn't I overtake him? You know, it wasn't, I didn't overtake him in a place where you couldn't overtake it. But, you know, it's a big wide road. I overtook him because I'm thinking, oh God, I'm going to be stuck behind him for ages, because he didn't know what, you know, he was clearly so drunk. But there you go. Okay, but as I say, I'm here. So what I'm going to tell you about in this video is what happened when little Gus Lamont. So this is little Gus. Let's have a look at him. So again, we'll just have a quick recap of what happened. So that, well, what we know of. So last year, round about September, little Gus, according to one of his G-Mas, not the one that's transitioned, but the other G-Ma, Shannon, this is the story that they gave the police, that she was looking after Gus and his little brother. Apparently, Gus's mum was not there, and the other G-Ma, this just looks like Crocodile Dundee with a blonde wig, doesn't she? But this was her in court the other day. So they were apparently at the sheep station. Let's have a look at Gus's mum. This is Gus's mum and dad. Now, they're not together. They had split up shortly before it. And Gus's mum, Jess, was living at the sheep station with Shannon and Josie, who are her biological parents. You know, so once Josie was her dad, but now Josie is her second mum, isn't it? So this is Josie. I've forgotten what his name was, what her name was before she decided she wanted to be a woman. Anyway, this is Shannon, who looks like she couldn't fight her way out of a paper bag. I always say she reminds me of Mrs. Pepperpot, which is a storybook that I used to read when I was a kid. They were, so Josie and Jess, the mum, they were supposedly away at the sheep shearing station, and Shannon was looking after Gus. Adorable Gus, look at his lovely blonde curls, and another little adorable boy that's been taken from this world and denied a life by someone who's supposed to care about them. Anyway, she said her story is that Gus was playing outside on a sand pit. Bear in mind, he's 4. This is a huge sprawling property with lots of hazards. And Gus is a toddler. You know how in the Preston Daily they keep calling him a toddler. He wasn't a toddler. He was only 13 months old. Gus is a toddler. And what she said was he was playing out there for 30 minutes on his own. 30 minutes. And when she went out to call him in for his tea, he was gone. So this was around about 6 o'clock in the evening that Shannon said this happened. I mean, you do not leave a 4-year-old. You know, these stories are ludicrous, aren't they? You don't leave a 4-year-old to their own devices for 30 minutes in a place where there's lots of hazards problems that he can get himself into. You know, it might be remote, so he might be safe from stranger danger. He probably was safe from stranger danger. But it's not like it was a garden, you know, that it was enclosed and, you know, nothing dangerous there for him to play with. He was playing there was sand pits, there was shackle sort of old tools. There were snakes, supposedly, you know. Josie had guns, you know, all these things are things that might have happened to little Gus. But no, Shannon decided she was looking after the baby as well, because he's got a little brother who's younger, maybe 2, I think, or maybe less than that when this happened. She was looking after him. She was in the house. She came out half an hour later and Gus had disappeared. Poof! Into a puff of smoke, beamed up by Starship Enterprise. No idea where he was. That's the story, or that was the first story, or that is one of the stories. Hi, Darren. That is one of the many stories that have been told. And this is why, in the end, now the police decided so a lot of searches were done for Gus. Everyone's been out there searching for him. They've been out there with dogs, the army, you know, search and rescue, and it's very unforgiving terrain. It's not really hilly terrain, and it's not full of trees. It's quite open. You think, you know, even with a drone you would be able to spot anything untoward because it's quite open. But of course, it was boiling hot, it was dusty. And, you know, when Gus wasn't found really within a couple of days, I think it was presumed that he would be deceased. So originally, it was thought that he had wandered away because this is what the G-Mas said. But then suddenly, you know, it seemed to be sort of going nowhere. Christmas came and went, no sign of Gus. Nothing has been found, none of his clothes. He was wearing a hat at the time. The only thing that was found was one boot print that is thought to maybe, it's obviously been planted, in my opinion, a bit like the Jack and Lily case. You know, I think that boot print was put there because why one boot print? It was like to confuse people, but anyway. Nothing else was found. So then suddenly in the new year, I think it was around a February time, the police suddenly issued a statement saying that in their opinion, Gus was dead, that they were declaring it a major crime and they had a suspect, but it wasn't Gus's parents. That was how they phrased the message that they put out. It was they had a suspect, but it wasn't anything to do with Gus's parents, his actual mum and dad. So that only leaves the G-Mars, because if you take away the mum and dad as suspects, like law enforcement did, well, there's only the G-Mars left. And originally they said one suspect. They are saying now, the police, there's two suspects. But it's definitely, they haven't named them. They haven't said, our two suspects are these two G-Mars, Josie and Shannon. But they don't need to really, do they, in a way, because we know if it's not the parents, well, the only other family members, that were there with Gus were these two. So one or both of these two has colluded into hiding. In the police's, this is the police that's saying this, not me speculating. The police have said this, that their accounts of what happened that day are contradictory. And they've noticed inconsistencies in their story. And then in the end, they stopped cooperating with the police and lawyered up. So they've both got a lawyer now, separate lawyers. They put out a statement through their lawyers saying, no, they had nothing to do with Gus's disappearance. They can't believe that they could be accused of this, blah, de, blah, de, bloody, blah. But the police are, obviously, they're not going to accuse them. They haven't specifically mentioned their names, but they just made it clear. Like if you've got 4 people that are possible suspects, and then the police come out and say, we have a suspect, but it's not the parents. Well, it only leaves the other 2, doesn't it? So what's happened since then? Well, the G-Mars are saying, no, it's nothing to do with them. They've had nothing to do with the disappearance of Gus. So the police went and searched this massive place, because it's quite a big house. There's outbuildings. It's huge acreage. It's right in the middle of the outback. It's like, it literally is looking for a needle in the haystack. There's mine shafts. There's all sorts of things. Anyway, they took away the car. I think they took away a motorbike as well. They've looked and looked. The police have searched and searched and searched, and they've been back several times to search. And to be fair, they haven't found anything. Where is Gus? Where have they put him? Gus is dead, no doubt about it. For the police to announce that, they must have a reason to believe that. But where is he? Where have they hidden him? Anyway, the last time the police went back and searched was not long ago, actually, wasn't it? About a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, because there'd been heavy rain, and the police believed that if they went back and searched, maybe the rain had dislodged something, or they would get some clues, as to what had happened to Gus, and, find something, but they didn't find anything. They found nothing. But so the only thing they have found here at this homestead is, hi Julie, hi, yeah, another day in paradise. Yeah. One thing they did find when they were searching the house, they found several weapons. So, gun-toting grandma, Josie, she's got a lot of weapons, but most of them are legal weapons. But one thing that they found that was illegal was a silencer. Thanks, Julie. I have not been in the sun at all, not this week anyway, but maybe just sort of generally walking around. But it must be because it's dark in here. So one thing they did find was this silencer, which is illegal. So they arrested Josie and charged her with having an illegal silencer. All her other weapons that she has, and she has several, they are legal. She has licenses to have them. Now, we saw that Josie was gun happy because a Daily Mail reporter went round there to the property to try and get an interview. And Josie came to the door with what do they call it? A repeat action. I don't know. The sort of guns like a shotgun, but one that you can repeat action with. There is a name for it. I can't remember what it's called. And sorry, I've just got to check that. She went to the door with bullets in one hand and a shotgun in the other hand, and threatened the reporter, "Go away! You can't help. Go away." Anyway, very scary footage of her doing that, because she is a scary look. I know she's transitioned to be a woman, or maybe I don't know if she's actually had the operation or not, or whether she's just living as a woman. But she is muscle bound, like she's like Crocodile Dundee type. As I say, that's exactly what she reminds me of. So this is the picture of her going to court. But I wonder, yeah. I mean, she's in the 70s now. So what happened? Look at this hat. What's that on the hat? Is that a flower? Anyway, so that's how she's turned up at court the other day. But she's she's not a feminine woman, let's put it that way. She's muscle bound, aggressive, whereas the other G-Ma looks like a little mouse, but you never know, do you? So God knows what's going on in that household. But she certainly showed the aggressive side of herself when she threatened the Daily Mail reporter. Now, as irritating as it must be to have a Daily Mail reporter turn up at your house, I don't think I'd be best pleased, but at the end of the day, you're not going to go out with a shotgun and start threatening them. Anyway, she said she only had that gun with her because she was going to shoot a snake on the porch. There were snakes on the porch. Now, that's another reason why was Gus even left playing on his own when there's snakes around? These things don't make sense, do they? You've got a 4-year-old child. Oh, can I go and play outside on my own for 30 minutes? No, you bloody can't, because there's snakes out there. There'll be poisonous spiders. This is Australia. There's lots of dangerous things, out there. So it wasn't a safe environment, was it, for him to go out and play on his own? Whatever. So it's just doesn't make sense that you would let him go out and play on his own in an environment like that, where admittedly they're saying, "Oh, there's snakes on the porch." That's why I had the shotgun. I wasn't going to do anything. It was snakes on the porch. It was a very scary. In fact, I might have a photo of it somewhere. I've got a photo of. She's a very intimidating woman, let's put it that way. And you wouldn't need asking twice to go away, because you'd be terrified if she came out at you with a shotgun. Anyway, she didn't get any charges for that. I mean, technically, I suppose that Daily Mail reporter was, was trespassing, or shouldn't have been there, so in some way she might have been within her rights to shoot her if she did shoot her, but it just shows the aggressive side of her. That's what I think. So anyway, in the meantime, she gets arrested for this silencer, and she's just appeared in court. So let's have a look what her sentence was. I'll do the AI mode because they do give you all the information on that. And Lamont was convicted, so she's been convicted, and she was fined $10,500 in the Adelaide Magistrates Court. Now she was lucky with that because the fine could have been up to $80,000, and also that owning these illegal silencers, you can end up with a prison sentence. So she probably maybe hasn't got any previous convictions, I don't know, but so the conviction stems from the illegal possession of a firearm silencer or suppressor, and this item was discovered by the police during searches of the family's remote property, Oak Park Station. So, Magistrate Roderick Jensen ordered Murray to pay a $10,500 fine and imposed a 5-year ban on holding or obtaining a firearms license. Now, I think Josie won't be happy with that because she likes her firearms. I mean, the thing is, when you live on a remote place like that, it's probably most people who live on any of those kind of properties, they're going to have firearms, aren't they, for protection, for snakes, for I don't know what other animals might come around, maybe dingoes or whatever. I don't know what sort of animals they would find around there. So Josie won't. That is, I expect that hurts Josie more than the $10,800 fine. Because that is a lot of money, isn't it? It is a lot of money, but I think for Josie it might be worse. Don't you think? Anyway, so she pled guilty to possessing an illegal gun silencer. So the South Australia Police have explicitly clarified that this firearms charge is unrelated to the disappearance of Gus. So apparently she caused chaos outside the court. We're going to have a look at a video in a moment. Upon exiting the Adelaide court, Murray clashed heavily with waiting members of the press. She refused to answer questions. She knocked over an ABC News journalist, and she ripped the foam windshield cover off a reporter's microphone before fleeing in a waiting vehicle. Isn't that an offence? What? Can't she get arrested for that? How can you can't listen? The press are annoying, of course they are. Well, if you're innocent, they shouldn't be that annoying, really, should they? But anyway. But the thing is, why was she so angry? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, she's definitely guilty, or the police seem to think so. She's their number one suspect. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can see any videos about it. Let's have a look at try with this one. Now, just let me make sure it's shared.
The grandparent of missing little boy Gus Lamont has had an outburst outside court, captured on camera.
Go back to the beginning.
Lashing out at reporters. The 75-year-old pleaded guilty to a serious firearms offence.
Sorry, just let me stop that moment. So she's 75 years old. This is her grandson, her biological grandson, who has disappeared. And she's not cooperating with the police. Neither her or the other grandma. God knows how poor Jess feels, Gus's biological mum. It's bad enough. So your 4-year-old boy, that beautiful boy, has disappeared and nobody knows where he is. He must be dead by now. He's not going to have been gone all this time and not be dead, is he? So how awful she must feel anyway. And then finding out that her own mother or father, whichever way you look at it, her biological father and now mother, is the prime suspect. What happened to Gus? What did this woman do to Gus? Was it an accident that they felt like they had to cover up, or is it more of a Preston Davies scenario? Is there abuse involved, or was it a pure accident? And why would they want to cover it up? You would, if something happened to your grandchild in your care, it'd be awful. Of course it would, but you would, you'd be trying to get the police, the ambulance out there. They have air ambulances, even though it's a remote place. How could you leave your own daughter not knowing what had happened to her son? Just horrible people.
The grandparent of missing little boy Gus Lamont has had an outburst outside court, captured on camera lashing out at reporters. The 75-year-old pleaded guilty to a serious firearms offence. The conviction unrelated to her grandson's disappearance.
Shoving a reporter in the press.
Sorry, it's whirring a bit. Oh, it stopped. Why has it stopped? Let's try again. Hang on. Oh, it's whirring. Sorry. This is what I mean. She's a very aggressive person, Josie. Very, very aggressive. And she's big. She's intimidating. What did she do to that tiny little boy? Let's see. Oh, why is it whirring?
The grandparent of missing little boy Gus Lamont has had an outburst outside court, captured on camera lashing out at reporters. The 75-year-old pleaded guilty to a serious firearms offence. The conviction unrelated to her grandson's disappearance.
Shoving a reporter in the press pack, knocking another to the ground before grabbing part of one journalist's microphone and tossing it away. Dropping her mobile phone as she scrambles into a ute. This is Josie Murray, the grandparent of missing little boy Gus Lamont, as she leaves the Adelaide Magistrates Court, convicted of owning an illegal gun silencer.
Josie, what do you make of your conviction today?
The 75-year-old slapped with a $10,500 fine and stripped of her gun licence for 5 years. The conviction unrelated to the Gus Lamont investigation, pushing for jail.
The thing is, she didn't have to push that. That reporter should go to the police and press charges, because that is assault, isn't it? She didn't have to do that. Of course, it's irritating, but she must have known there's going to be reporters there. And the other thing we have to remember is right from the beginning, when Gus disappeared, this grandma did not want any media attention. How would you be if your grandchild went missing and you were innocent, you didn't know what happened to him? You'd be clamouring for all the media to please share Gus's photo. Where is he? Someone's got him. What's happened to him? She was the opposite. She did not cooperate with the press at all, not the mainstream media, nobody. No, nobody can help.
Murray should have known better, having already been convicted of a firearms offence for not prowling.
Oh my God. So this is news. So she'd previously been convicted of not securing her guns properly. Oh my God. Well, it makes you wonder, did Gus get hold of one of her guns? Is that how the accident happened?
Rampage, stabbing a police officer and holding a woman hostage near Yunta.
The court was given an...
Oh, so somebody broke in, got the guns that she had secured properly, and went on a rampage. So this is new. We didn't know this before, that she'd already been not securing her guns properly. Just makes you wonder, did you know what little boys are like? Did he get a gun? He's playing cowboys and Indians. Shoot himself.
See Murray's live today.
Shannon at school, so they've been together forever. They're both in their 70s now. Now, I don't know if they're having like a sentimental relationship now or if they're just together just for the easiness of, you know, where you're going to go sort of at 75. Like, are you going to go and start a new life? I don't know. You're not likely to, are you? Why is Shannon like, so just looking at Shannon and she looks, well, she might not be. She might be a very strong personality. I have no idea because I don't know her. But it seems to me that Josie is the stronger personality. Oh, look at this video that Gus's mum released of him on his bike. That hat, he was wearing that hat when he allegedly disappeared. So they haven't found that hat anywhere. But Gus's mum recently released this video of him on his bike. It's haunting. Just this little boy enjoying himself, learning to ride his bike, finding his feet. And then he was dead.
From the Outback property more than 8 months ago. His disappearance now.
It's been months. Look, there's the actual property there. All these different outhouses and that, and then the actual land around it is enormous. Where have they put him?
8 months ago, found the fight. A suspect, a relative at station with his parents. This week, more aerial searches were carried out over Oak Park using AI technology. The new information is now being examined. Samantha Hogan, 9 News.
Just barges that woman out the way. That report, right, we'll watch this one more time. I won't say anything.
The grandparent of missing little boy Gus Lamont has had an outburst outside court, captured on camera, unrelated to her grandson's disappearance.
Shoving a reporter in the press pack, knocking another to the ground before grabbing part journalist's microphone and tossing it away. This is Josie Murray, the grandparent of missing little boy Gus Lamont, as she leaves the Adelaide Magistrates Court, convicted of owning an illegal gun silencer.
Josie, what do you make?
Right, I think I'm back now. Am I back in the room? It went off, didn't it? Just cut off like it does sometimes. Let me put that back up again. Just make sure. Sorry, I think it went off, but I do think I'm back now. Let me know. Am I back? Am I back? I think so. Let's start again with this.
Parent of missing little boy Gus Lamont has had an outburst outside court, captured on camera lashing out at reporters. The 75-year-old pleaded guilty to a serious firearms offence. The conviction unrelated to her grandson's disappearance.
Shoving a reporter in the pack, knocking another and tossing it away. Dropping her mobile phone as she scrambles into a ute. This is Josie Murray, the grandparent of missing little boy Gus Lamont, as she leaves the Adelaide Magistrates Court, convicted of owning an illegal gun silencer.
Josie, what do you make of your conviction today?
The 75-year-old slapped with a $10,500 fine and stripped of her gun licence for 5 years. The conviction unrelated to the Gus Lamont investigation.
Josie, do you have anything to say about your grandson's disappearance?
The prosecution had been pushing for jail time, arguing Murray should have known better, having already been convicted of a firearms offence for not properly securing gun stations before they were stolen by a violent trespasser in 2009, who went on a rampage, stabbing a police officer and holding a woman hostage near Yunta.
The court was given an insight into Josie Murray's life today. She was a boarder at St. Peter's College here in Adelaide, meeting her partner Shannon in school. She studied law for a year before becoming a farmer and moving to Oak Park Station.
4-year-old Gus Lamont vanished from the Outback property more than 8 months ago. His appearance now investigation.
How have you found the police investigation so far? Son's disappearance.
Relative who was living with us at Oak Park Station. Either.
Are you a suspect?
This was carried out over Oak Park using AI. The information is being examined.
Poor woman, isn't she, really? Because this is her grandson. Just awful, isn't it? And just treating those reporters like that. I mean, that reporter that was shoved to the ground, she should sue her, or, press charges. That is assault, of course. If I was, I'd definitely be praying for assault. But anyway, yeah, she just doesn't give a shit, does she? She's just going to let her daughter know what happened to her son. Just what a vile person. So I just thought I'd catch you up with that. Now, the thing is, the police have said they're going to keep going back. They never let it go. Gus is found there. Gus is somewhere. The problem is, it's even on that property. Could she have taken him away somewhere else? I mean, Gus is so tiny, he could just go in a rucksack, or 4 years old. He won't be difficult to hide or to put in something and take him off and put him somewhere else. It's so sad. In the end, the police find him, and this bitch, honest God, sorry for the language, but bitch, or bastard if you think of her as a man, because I don't know if she's actually had the operation or not. But whatever she is, she's not a nice person. And the other one as well, Shannon, 2 grandmas under suspicion. They don't give a shit. They only give a shit about each other. At their advanced age, are they going to, I don't know how long they're going to live. To be fair, it looks like she's going to live quite a long time. She looks very healthy woman, a very healthy person. I don't know about Shannon. She doesn't look quite so. They're going to take that secret with them to the grave of where this beautiful boy is and what happened to him. I mean, I know they'll still get their judgment in the next world, but it'd be nice for the mum, nice for Gus's actual mum to know what's happened to her beautiful boy. and her dad, of course. You know, they might be separated now. They may have got back together through all this. You don't know. How can they not let her know what's happened to her son? How can you do that? She's a psychopath. They're psychopaths. There's only a psychopath would be able to live with it every day. Do you know, it's hard enough for us to live with the story of Gus, how traumatic it is. So how traumatic it must be for Jess. Oh, but not those two G-Mas. They're just carrying on their lives. They don't give a shit. As long as they're okay. They don't want to go to prison for the rest of their miserable lives. They've had 70 odd years of life. Gus had 4 years. 4 years of life, and who knows what was involved in those 4 years? Was she abusing? We don't know. Are they going to really go to the grave, letting anybody know where this little is, without letting their own daughter where her son is? Horrible, horrible people, aren't they? As I say, they've had a long life already, really. You know, 75 is a good age. You know, 85 is better, of course. But you know what I mean? All those years of life they've had, and just had 4 years, and they're still not, they won't, their daughter, in her 30s, she's got to live she's got a life sentence, having to live with that. She's never going to feel awful. And it's made even more awful by the fact that you know, they are the bad biological grandparents. All these children, you know, at hands of people who are supposed to care about. You know, it's bad enough when children get snatched by bloody psycho strangers. But when they're the very people that they're supposed to be able to trust, they're the only people really that are supposed to look after them, care for them, protect them, you know, more than anybody. And they're these children like Preston, like Jack and Lily Sullivan, like many kids that have disappeared over the years, at the hands of the people that are supposed to care the most about them. It's terrible, really, isn't it? Okay, anyway, I wanted to just update you on that. Please don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button, the subscribe button. Check out my Ko-fi page, the merchandise, see if there's anything there that you're interested in. Yeah, and just thank you for caring about little Gus and all the other cases that we talk about. On Monday, of course, the Preston Davey trial, the deliberations, the jury deliberations will resume, and we'll see if they finally do come to a verdict on Monday or not. I will be here to cover it. I've got some time in the afternoon for that, and I will definitely be covering that case. You know, I'll be probably doing what I did yesterday, which was basically sitting staring at the computer all day, checking Twitter, checking the updates from the Manchester Evening News, checking everything, waiting to see if the jury would come back with a verdict. And it didn't happen on Friday, but will it happen on Monday? I'll be here again just staring at the computer, waiting for it. Anyway, I hope you have a nice weekend. As I say, eat something nice, drink something nice, go somewhere nice, kiss somebody nice, or hug your dog, whichever. Remember, ladies, to lock your car doors after that horrible experience I had last night. Do you know, I really thought after that man could have stabbed me, punched me, there's so many things that he could have done when he opened that door, and I was just helpless, sat there in the driver's seat. I couldn't move. Terrible. You know, it's a horrible experience. So I count myself very lucky that nothing more happened, just me getting scared. And I thank God for that. The guy, the immigrant, I say South American, probably Ecuadorian. My son felt he was Ecuadorian because they do have a certain accent. You can tell when you know Spanish. You can tell that although someone's speaking Spanish, they're not from Spain, and you can tell where they're from. He was so kind of him to come and help out and get rid of that other drunken guy who was Spanish. Yeah, that was a horrible experience. So remember, ladies, especially, but everybody really, make sure your car door is locked at all times, so nobody can just come up and open your door and start screaming in your face, drunk with some drunk. Okay, so I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, I say, take care of yourselves. Do something nice for yourself, because you are the most important person. Because, you know, for a lot of us, everything would fall apart if it wasn't for us. Sometimes we forget to look after ourselves. We're too busy looking after everybody else. But you know what? You have to make sure that you take some time out for you. As I say, what I'm going to do this weekend is I may do a bit of sunbathing, I don't know really, but I'm certainly going to eat a lot, drink a lot, watch a lot of football, probably the World Cup, and sleep a lot. I'm going to do all those things, and probably maybe do some more videos. I'm not sure yet. So thank you for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Until then, thank you so much. And prayers for Gus. We have to add Gus to our prayers. You know, we're praying for all these cases that we cover, and Gus is one of them. I just hope they find him and get that bloody gun-toting granny off the streets. See you soon, and until then, may your God go with you. Bye.